What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Kong news roundup. That's right, in this video we will be continuing our chronological journey through the development and release of Godzilla Kong: The New Empire and its subsequent sequel by talking about events that happened in May. Let's jump into it. Starting out, I want to show off some artwork like always, and this first piece is awesome. And this is the Rodan eruption artwork, so beautiful. I love it. I love the very classical Japanese art style aesthetic to it. The watery wings of Rodan making him look like a mythical deity. The red sun up above him, him coming out of the volcano, one of my favorite moments in Godzilla franchise history. I love this artwork. I miss this artwork. I miss when King of the Monsters was the vibe. This is so great. I wanted to show it off. Also, a very cool Rodan redesign. This one's crazy. It's so cool. This one's from Matt Heath. It is Godzilla 2014 in the moonlight. Looking sick. I love Godzilla's tail wrapping around. I love the colors, the big moon back there. This is very cool. This is like G-fan artwork right here. This is so neat. It's also, I love to see Godzilla 2014's design placed in like a very classical Toho context. It's very cool. Bear McCreary, the composer for Godzilla King of the Monsters, was on stage with Slash and Buck Dharma, the Blue Oyster Cult's writer, and I believe he's the guitarist, and they performed Godzilla. They performed like a Blue Oyster Cult / Serge Tankian Bear McCreary styled mashup of Godzilla. It's so awesome. Obviously a huge favorite of mine. I love that song. So awesome to see them perform it on stage. What is Bear McCreary playing? What is that thing? But it's great. I love it. I wanted to shout this out because I thought it was so fun. Next up, Mondo's coming to bat with a wonderful Godzilla Kong: The New Empire poster. This went on sale. So freaking cool, man. I love their Scar King design. Godzilla's looking sick as well. I wish we could have seen more visuals like this in the movie. This is great. I love to see them tearing through the buildings like that. Just apocalyptic. This poster is from Wayshark. Next up, Legendary Shop released some Mothra merchandise for New Empire. We've got a shirt of Mothra flying towards us, centered with the pyramid shadow below her, and we've also got this one of Mothra flying against the blue splash behind her. What is that blue splash? It almost looks like it's got her face in it, but I can't totally tell. Pretty cool. Love to see more Mothra merch. Some New Empire Japanese merch was released. A lot of these are acrylic stamps, which I've actually grown to like quite a lot. There's some phone cases, cups, and shirts, and more. Pretty cool. I love these. Mondo released some special Godzilla Kong: The New Empire figures. Their first one is Godzilla Evolved with this very retro style. I love it. I'm a big fan of when toy makers commit to the retro style, but also amplify the artsiness of it. I think this looks great. The Kong looks pretty cool as well. I actually particularly like the one with the beast glove, which I believe is just a swappable arm, which is pretty neat. Hiya revealed their Skullcrawler 2021. It is awesome, looks just like the one from Godzilla vs. Kong. Hiya did a wonderful job with this, and it sold for $51. The Hiya Mothra 2019 Emerald version was teased. It is an updated version of their Mothra 2021 with a emerald blue paint job representing Mothra's blue color throughout most of King of the Monsters. Looking great. Again, probably around $51. The SHMA Wingoji finally went on sale for $130. Actually, I think kind of a reasonable price for how big and detailed this figure looks. Pretty cool. SHMA's Scar King was finally revealed. I think he looks great. I think the paint job overall looks fantastic. I love the whip slash, love the details in it, love the alternate heads for Scar King. I'm a big fan of the stripes across his chest and the paint job on his forehead looking like the handprint. I love that some of the heads are like the very sassy Scar King heads. That's awesome. His eyes also glow blue, which is pretty cool, representing the way he was supposed to look in the movie and didn't totally. And yeah, I think the whip slash overall just looks great. I love the way they've done the whip slash. I know some people were complaining about how short it is. Dude, the whip slash changes length depending on the shot to shot to shot in the movie. So of course Monster Arts is gonna have to make it a little smaller. But yeah, I think the Scar King looks great overall. He was also one of the cheaper Monster Arts figures, releasing for $99. Scar King weirdly came with the accessory of Kong's arm with the beast glove, and the beast glove arm actually looks pretty solid. It's pretty cool. It's got lots of articulation and lots of detail in it, assuming it came out as good as the pictures. Looks like it has some alternate hands, some opened and some closed into fists, which is pretty neat. Overall, it looks very awesome. I just hate that they separated it. You have to buy both the Kong and the Scar King in order to get Kong with the Beast Glove. It's ridiculous. It's such a cheap gimmick in order to make you pay for multiple figures. I am not a fan of that, but it does look pretty awesome, I suppose, and especially in this image with the Godzilla figure, they do look very film accurate, assuming that the final figures were as good as these. The SHMA Shimo was also teased, looking fantastic here, although that's not to scale. The Shimo is not that big, but the SHMA Shimo is teased here, and the crystals on the back look pretty freaking awesome in my opinion. Hey, speaking of Shimo figures, the Spiral Studios Shimo was teased with this incredible model. Oh, Spiral Studios is always killing it. There's so much wonderful detail in here, and I really love the coloration on the crystals with the blues and the purples and the whites. They look incredible. This thing is amazing. So is the W Dragon Godzilla 2019, which was revealed. This is a 12-inch figure that ran for $210 and might be one of the most, if not the most accurately sculpted Godzilla 2019s I have ever seen. This thing has incredible detail throughout it. So much texture, so much depth. The paint job looks incredible. This is a phenomenal figure. I am in love with this thing. Early Suko concept art was released. This came from Simon Weber, looking actually fairly similar to the final Suko design. It's just the hair looks a little different is all. Some early Godzilla Evolved concept art was revealed from Jared Krzyzewski with translucent dorsal plates, looking very cool. A much greener design than the finalized Godzilla Evolved design. I think it's pretty sweet, actually. I'm a big fan of it. As I've said for a while now, I think Krzyzewski's Godzilla concept art actually looks much cooler than the one in the film. Some of his early art shows Godzilla looking very mossy green. Very interesting, and also super puffed up on the chest area. Very glad they didn't go with something that exaggerated. My favorite of the Krzyzewski designs is actually this one with Godzilla, kind of looking way more Toho. The longer arms look a lot better here. He looks a lot more proportional. The spines aren't as large. I love the extra jagged spikes sticking out of Godzilla's chin. Incredibly cool. There's other art which shows those translucent dorsal spines even better, looking actually very creepy and gross. I wish they would have gone with something a little more like that instead of having Godzilla's spines be essentially crystals that stick out of his back. And then there are these ones, which I love, the neon glowing Godzilla, just looking so freaking different, so cool. A very neat way to have Godzilla glow. Wish we could have seen evolved Godzilla at night. I particularly love the face with all of the extra spikes going across the face. That looks so awesome. I'm such a huge fan of that. And I think this one shows off that pink the best, as it looks like a very nice blend between red and blue, creating this pinkish purple color, which makes sense to me. It makes a lot more sense that Godzilla would be a little more fleshy and a little more pink, and so his blue would look a different color rather than just dude straight up turns pink and glows like a neon light. Evolved Godzilla, I think, glows a little too much to the point where it sort of takes away from the beauty of Godzilla lighting up. We also got some artwork of Shimo released, and it's the finalized Shimo design for the most part, looking amazing. Krzyzewski's designs as well. I love the one of Shimo standing up here. It's just great stuff. We also have seen these a lot in the marketing for the film as well. Godzilla Kong the New Empire appeared at Licensing Expo. Not too much to say for this one. Licensing Expo 2025 was a lot more exciting with a lot more reveals, but pretty cool that the MonsterVerse had a big presence there. A roundtable was held with the MonsterVerse directors. This was held by Fandango, and it was to promote the digital release of Godzilla Kong the New Empire. Now, on the physical release of Godzilla Kong the New Empire, if you buy it, there is an extended version of this roundtable. Maybe someday I'll break that down. For today, we're gonna go with the Fandango released version, which is about 10 minutes, and it's really wonderful. All the MonsterVerse directors uniting and getting to chat. It's awesome. To begin, I want to shout out the props in the room. I love the skullcrawler eggs in the background from Godzilla vs. Kong. That's such a sick detail. I also love the love between the different directors and seeing how much they enjoy each other's presence. It's just so nice and wholesome, and they also look fantastic. I'm glad to see them all doing well. It makes me really happy to see all of them doing well and to see all of them back in the modern day. It's been a long time since we've heard from Doherty. Doherty's back on Twitter right now, which is pretty exciting. It's also been a long time since we've heard from Edwards and Roberts, especially as far as we're concerned in the Godzilla space. Edwards disappeared for years before coming back with the creator, so it's nice to see them all back. As they get into their chat, Doherty opens up about how the studio really wasn't restrictive in terms of tone, style, or realism following up with Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. They allowed each director to go the direction they wanted with their own movies, which results in the movies all having their own unique feels. Doherty then celebrates how the MonsterVerse, within one decade, captured the entire evolution of the Showa series of Godzilla, which took them 20 years to get through. Wingard then says that it really wasn't a conscious choice. He wasn't trying to follow the Showa map. It was just a matter of the filmmakers being picked were picked in an order to where all of their films embodied the different vibes of the Showa series as it evolved. He elaborates on how he felt like Edwards and Roberts created the basis for the kaiju in this universe, while Doherty created the sense of heightened reality in the films, and how once things evolved to the point of King Ghidorah and Mothra and Monarch having massive bases and advanced technology, he felt like there was no going back to the grounded realism, so he just decided to take it to the next level. When talking about the fandom, I thought this was pretty interesting. Jordan Vogt Roberts discusses the push and pull within, although not what I was expecting. I thought they were going to talk about the tonal clash between fans who like the serious stuff and fans who like the silly stuff. Instead, Roberts talks about how weird it was to experience the battle between hardcore kaiju and Godzilla fans, and how they were always fighting against fantasy adventure fans who lean more into classical cinema, such as the fans of King Kong. Roberts talks about how with Kong Skull Island walking the bridge between being a classical adventure Kong film and a kaiju film, he had to experience that a lot. Edwards talks about how hard it was for both him and Roberts to follow in the footsteps of King Kong 1933 and Godzilla 1954, and how envious he was that those pressures didn't really apply to Godzilla vs. Kong with King Kong vs. Godzilla 1962. I thought this was goofy, but Wingard, while agreeing that King Kong vs. Godzilla isn't a good film or a high bar to surpass, teased Edwards for saying that out loud because so many fans are so passionate about that movie, and he's talking about me. I love King Kong vs. Godzilla 1962. Years ago, I was pissed off that Adam Wingard didn't love that movie. He didn't have any respect for it. That made me upset. He's talking about me. Gareth Edwards, I will never forgive you for that. I love how Roberts and Wingard then start to argue about Godzilla vs. Kong and Mechagodzilla. Roberts making an argument that I've never heard before, but I think is hilarious. In Warfare, technically Kong is the winner, and it doesn't matter that Godzilla beat him in a fight, because in war, it doesn't matter how many battles America loses. What matters is that they ended World War II. And I think that's a hilarious way to try and argue that it does not matter if Kong specifically loses to Godzilla. He wins the war in both movies. Kong is the one delivering the final blow to the big bad. Therefore, Kong is the winner of the fight between Godzilla and Kong. I think that is so funny. And I think it's funny that in terms of boxing matches, which is what Adam Wingard is arguing, Godzilla is the clear winner. Because if you're going based on boxing matches, Godzilla wins. But if you're going on warfare, I guess Kong wins, according to Roberts. And I thought that was so funny to watch Wingard be like, no, don't do this to me. Don't bring this up. I don't want to get into it. I thought that was very fun. When talking about cinematic universes being in this new era of cinema, they discuss how the MonsterVerse is a super nice addition to the world and a very special thing, celebrating how Godzilla vs. Kong, bringing the two ends of the universe together, was embraced, proving that the MonsterVerse was unequivocally an experiment that worked. Roberts also celebrates the potential for any of them to return in the future to direct future MonsterVerse movies, as well as the potential for new voices to enter the chat. I would love to see some of the older MonsterVerse filmmakers return. Of course, we're about to talk about one of them leaving, but I'd love to see some of them back. In particular, I would love to see Doherty back, and I'd be really excited to see what Jordan Vogt Roberts comes up with as well, especially if it's like throwing us back into the era pieces with another Kong Skull Island styled movie. There's a lot of potential there with Monarch Legacy of Monsters now as well. They share their hopes for this universe to continue, and they all explain that they don't want it to end. Wingard celebrates how special effects have evolved so much that Godzilla and Kong have become three-dimensional characters, and because of that, he can't wait to see those characters continue throughout cinema history, especially now more than ever. They end the talk by discussing how monsters are tragic beings, and we are doomed to never understand them in full, and we are doomed to always be at odds with them. They end with Doherty saying that monsters are mythical figures, and that there will always be a need for those myths, with Roberts saying, let's hope. Which is just so perfectly in tone for Jordan Vogt Roberts, especially considering Kong Skull Island thematically has a lot to say about the destruction and loss of myth in modern society. I thought that was a very fun ending. Very fitting for all of those filmmakers. Thank you guys all for watching. Huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member, as those are the most direct ways to support this channel, and I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.